So I have my piece of string and I have a ruler, okay? I'm gonna measure this piece of string all the way across the ruler so that it's 1 foot long. And then I'm holding the string and I'm gonna push it back to the edge of the ruler, measure it across the ruler again, that's 2 feet, slide it over, measure it one more time, and that's 3 feet. Or a trick that you can use is if I measured this one time across the ruler, I'm gonna hold it right here and I'm gonna make a little loop here and I'll just stretch it until I have 2 and then loop it one more time and stretch it until I have 3. And that's one piece of string that's 3 feet long. And you need 5. All right. Again, you need to have 5 pieces of string. If your ruler is, like my ruler is only 12 inches, but I'm taking that same piece of string across my ruler 3 times to make it 36. I'm waiting, don't worry. So if yours is 30 inches, just make sure in total it's 36 inches. It should go across a 12-inch ruler 3 times. And if you don't have enough string, then 20 inches is fine too. Your keychain will just be a little bit smaller. All right, I'll give everyone just a few more minutes. I will show you how to tie it when we're done, and the strings can be different colors. It doesn't matter. I'm going to be using 1 to 2 colors to show you, but if you want to use different colors, it's completely up to you. You should have 5 pieces of string in total. For the first one, we're only going to use 2. You should have 5 in total. So I'm starting with 2, and they should both be 3 feet long. If you don't have enough string and yours is about like 20 inches or 2 feet long, that's fine. All right. So I'm going to take my key ring. I can't show you exactly how long it is because the camera won't allow me to, but hold on. Mine is this long. That's 1 piece of string. You should have 5 of them. And this is 1 piece that's folded in half. I'll give everyone just another minute to get their strings cut. In the meantime, whoever's ready, get your key ring and put it in the center. And if you have some tape, I would recommend to tape a little bit down, or just keep some tape ready to tape it down so that it's secure for you to work on. Again, the color does not matter. I am using the same one, but you can use whatever color you want to use. Okay. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and start. And again, like I said in the beginning, a lot of these steps are going to be the same. So if you miss a step or if you are behind a minute, don't panic because you're gonna get a chance to do it again and you're gonna get a chance to see it again. All right, so I'm gonna take one piece of string, just one. My other four on this side, the only thing I have in front of me is my key ring and one piece of string. I'm gonna take this piece of string and I'm gonna fold it in half. So I'm gonna line up the edges of the string, just like that. And I'm gonna fold it in half so that I have this loop on one end and I have two free ends on the other side. Now, before I tape my key ring down, I'm going to pick up my key ring and I'm going to take this loop and I'm going to put it over the key ring, not under, over the key ring like this. I'm going to feed it through and I'm going to hold it with my other hand. So it should look like this. Again, I'm not going to feed it under. I'm going to take this loop and I'm going to feed it over the key ring and use my other hand to pull it through so that it's just kind of hanging out in the key ring. I haven't tied anything yet. I just put it inside the key ring. I'm going to pull it from the back with my left hand and I have this loop right here. So I'm going to put my pointer finger and my thumb through this loop and I'm going to grab my two free strings and pull it through. And I can use my other hand to hold this loop and you're going to pull it through and pull it tight. So you have a loop on your key ring. And I'm going to do that one more time because you have to do it twice. So if you missed it, then don't worry, we'll do it again. So it should look like that. Okay, now I'm going to take my second piece. I'm using gray now. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to line up the edges of the string and fold this piece in half so that we have our loop on one end and we have two free edges on the other end. Now I'm going to take my key ring again and I'm going to do the same thing that I did the first time. I'm just going to move this over a little bit and I'm going to take my loop, feed it inside the key ring, over the key ring, use my left hand to pull the loop, use my pointer finger and my thumb, to grab these two strings. Then I'll use my right hand to hold the loop, pull the strings, and pull it shut. And you can, if you feel it's a little bit loose, then you can just tug it and push it against the key ring and make it nice and snug. All right, the comments are pretty quiet, so I think everyone's following along. I'll give you a second to do that if you didn't get a chance to. I guess you can say this is kind of like a jellyfish, yeah? You should see the loop, right? You should see, I don't know if you can see it clearly, but you should see that knot right there. No, you're not gonna put all 5. We are only doing 2. For the first one, we're doing 2. And if we get to the second one, then we'll use the other 3. But for now, we're doing 2. All right. So now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take a piece of tape and I'm gonna take my key ring down so that it doesn't move. And I'm gonna move this up a little bit so you can see. If you don't have tape, that's fine. You can just hold it in your lap. That's not a problem. You can also use your toe if you want to put it around your toe. All right, So this is how we're going to do this. We have 4 pieces of string right here. You're going to take the ones that are on the outside and you're going to move them to the side. So it's kind of like a person. These are the person's arms, these are the person's legs. Okay? So I'll show you what this is going to look like. This is going to turn out to look like this. So the way that this is going to work, I'm going to show you how to do the knot. So for the first one, I want everybody to just watch. Don't try and do it just yet. Just watch so you can get an idea of what it looks like. Okay? So for this one, you only have to learn one type of knot, and we're going to repeatedly do that knot again and again. And that's what's going to make that twisty pattern of the keychain that I just showed you. So again, if you forget how to do it, or if you miss a step, you're not sure what to do, just hang tight until I show you how to do the next one, and then you can follow along from there. So again, don't do this one, just watch. I'm gonna keep these 2 strings right in the middle. I'm not really gonna pull on these yet, okay? I'm gonna take the string that's on the left side, and I'm gonna make it into an L shape. And I'm gonna rest that L on top of the 2 center ones. So it kind of looks like a 4, okay? Again, I'm not doing anything to the 2 middle ones. I'm just taking that left one, I'm making an L, and I'm putting it across the 2 center ones. Next, I'm gonna hold this with my left hand, and I'm going to take the piece of string that's on the right, and I'm gonna pull it down so that it rests over that 4. That L-shaped 4 that I made, it's gonna rest on top of it. So if you look at the order, it should be the 2 straight strings that are in the middle, your 4, and then that right hand string that's on the top. Again, just watch for now, and then I'll show you how to do it again. Next, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take these 2 middle strings and make sure that this L remains an L. I'm gonna use my left hand, and I'm gonna kind of gather all of these 3 together so that it stays together. And I'll take this right hand string, and I'm going to tug it underneath all 3 and pull it through this loop right here, and use that to take it out. And so it'll look kind of sloppy, but you can hold those 2 middle strings and then use your index finger and your middle finger and your left hand to pull. So you pull, and then you can tug on the middle, pull, tug on the middle if it gets tangled, and just tie that knot right there. So it looks a little tricky at first, but once you remember how to do the 4, then it'll be easier to do. So if you want to, this whole keychain is going to be the same knot again and again. So if you want to watch, you can watch and join in after a few steps, or if you're ready to start, then you can join me and we'll do it together. All right, it's the same thing. I'm going to take these 2 middle strings and leave them in the middle. I'm going to take that left hand string, make an L, and rest it. You can do it if you want, or if you can watch if you want. It's going to be the same knot again and again. I'm going to use that left string to make that 4 again. Everyone see that 4 shape? Or kind of like a backwards P. And then I'll take the right hand string and pull it on top of the 4. So again, the order is you have your 2 middle strings, and then you should have that 4, and then you have your right hand string all the way up top. Now I'm going to use my left hand to pick up my 2 middle strings and then hold that 4 down with my thumb. I'm going to take the right hand string and put it underneath all of those other strings and put it through this big loop right here. So that should be between that curve and the two middle strings are together. That's where your loop is. And you're going to pull it through there, pull it out. Don't tug too hard. And then you see that you have these two side strings now after you made that loop. So all you do is you pull, and if you see it gets bunched up like that, all you do is you take those middle strings, pull them down, and you can release that knot, tug, pull it down, tug. And there we have two knots already done right there. And if we continue to do it in this manner, that's what's going to give you that twisty pattern of the keychain that I showed you before. I'm going to keep showing you again and again. That's what's going to make the keychain. Okay, let's try it again. We're going to take these two in the middle, and we're going to keep them straight. We're not going to touch these yet. Okay, we're going to take the left side. Everyone pull your left side one up. Don't tug it too hard, but take the left side. And you're going to make a 4. Does everyone see this 4? I'm just using my index finger and I'm using it as a loop. And I'm just going to rest it down. I'm not doing anything to it, just so it makes that 4 shape. Okay? I'm going to take this right hand string now, the one that's all the way on the outside. Whoops, pull this up a little bit. And I'm going to put it right on top of that string that I just made into the 4. So the order on your table or board or whatever you're working on the very bottom, you have these two middle strings. On top of that, you have your 4 loop. And then on top of that, you have the string that's all the way on the right side. So what I'm going to do to make this easier is I'm going to pick up very lightly. I'm just going to lift those two middle strings, and I'm going to pinch down this 4 so I don't lose it. This right string that's all the way on the outside, so in one hand I have the two middle strings and the left string that made the 4, and I'm holding it so I don't lose it. And then I have my right string. I'm going to take this and I'm going to pull it all the way under through this hole. And again, that hole is made on one side, it's that left side string, and on the other side, it's the two middle strings. So I'm still pulling. I'm going to take this out of the loop, I'm not pulling it just yet, and I'm going to set this knot down. And then I have these two strings on the side, I'm just going to pull it. And I see that it's getting bunched up in the middle, so I'll tug it from the middle. The two middle strings, I'll pull it down, tug, pull the middle, and you can hold it. If you feel comfortable enough, you can hold the middle strings down and then use your other fingers to just pull it. Some people are asking how many times we have to do this. So if we continue doing the same knot again and again, that's what's going to give you this twisty shape. So we are going to be, it's not going to do it yet. Mine isn't doing it either. Mine is still straight, but eventually it's going to start curving as we keep going. But after a few knots, we're just going to swap them in and out because you are only using your outside strings. So at one point, your outside strings are going to get shorter than your inside strings. So once we do about 10 of these, I'll show you how to just flip them inside out, and we'll continue doing the same thing. You're not really changing anything. All right, can I get a couple of yeses on the comments for who's following? Just so I see where everyone is. Okay, good. Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to keep going. So we have, again, this is the same knot again and again. So if you're comfortable, keep going, but stop when you have about 10 of them. and then I'll show you how to swap them in and out so that you don't run out of string too quickly. And then whoever is a little behind, that's fine. You can just keep watching and follow along. All right, so I have my 2 middle strings, and I'm gonna make that 4 on top of the middle. Oops. When it starts to turn, it'll be a little bit harder to keep track of your strings, so you're welcome to use some tape if that helps. Whoever's continuing, I would say do about 10 of these and then stop, and I'll show you how to flip them in and out to keep going so that you don't lose string. All right, so I made my 4, and I'm gonna hold it down. I'm gonna take my right hand string and pull it over. I'm gonna use my pointer finger and my thumb to hold together the 4 and the 2 middle strings. And then I have my right hand string here, and I'm gonna put it underneath and pull it through. And then you have your 2 sides, and just pull. You can tug in the middle and then pull, tug and pull. And you want to pull it tight enough. Don't be afraid to pull too tight. You want to have it tight enough so that the knots are right like one on top of the other. If your side string is getting too short, I would say hang tight. If you have about 10 of them, I'll start doing them a little bit faster, and then we can move on to how to turn them inside out. All right, so let's get going. So as you can see, I have a little bit of a turn coming in right here. So if you keep doing that, that's what's gonna help it turn. Okay, so I have my arms and my legs. I'm gonna take the left arm. If it's starting to turn, that's good. That means we're doing the right thing. If you're continuing to move on. I'm gonna make my 4 and hold it down. Take my right string, pull it over, and then tuck it underneath the 4 and pull it out from that loop. Straighten out my middle strings and pull. Oops, lost my keyring there. So again, when it starts to turn, it's gonna try and move around a little bit. So just make sure that you keep tugging that middle portion and you should be good. There we go. So I'm gonna get a new piece of tape. Yes, if you have thicker cord or twine, you can also use that. Just for the purpose of a keychain, I used a bit of a smaller cord. You can actually get macrame cord. It's about 5 millimeters thick, and it's a lot easier to use. If you've only done 3 or 4, you're not going to see a twist yet, but if you continue, you'll start to see it. So I have about 5. I'm going to hold the middle down and make my 4. So when you're tying your knot, make sure it's not overlapping onto the one on top of it. If you tie it too fast and you tie it too hard, it is going to overlap, and you don't want that. You want it to make sure that it sits right underneath the knot that you just made. So see, mine is one underneath the other. You don't want to have them one on top of the other. You want them to fall underneath or on top, or like above, but make sure it's not clumping on the one that you already made. Okay, so let's do the next one. I'm gonna straighten this out. If yours is starting to turn, I'm gonna go ahead and show you, since I don't want you to fall behind. I don't want you to wait too long, and it's gonna be the same thing. So if you're not ready to swap out, that's fine. You can keep going. All you're gonna do is you're going to flip them. So you're gonna take the two that are in the middle and you're gonna push those outside, and you're gonna take the two that are outside and bring them in the middle. That way it'll help you preserve your string. So you can do 10 more of these and then flip them again. So again, I'll show you what I did. All I did was I took the two middle strings and I put one on the right side, one on the left side, and the ones that are outside, you can pull them in and do it exactly the same way. I'm just gonna hold on to this because there's that loop here when you pull it in. So I'm gonna hang on to this. So I have my 4. All I did was make a loop. That's all I did. I just made a little semicircle and it's sitting across here, and I'm gonna hold it down with my thumb and my pointer finger. I'm gonna take my right hand string, and I'm gonna pick up this whole 4, and this is how you do the loop. I'm gonna take the right hand string, put it over that 4, and I'm gonna take the rest of it and put it under everything that I have. So there's nothing else down here, just my clipboard. And I'm gonna pull it through this loop and let it sit on the other side. And then pull. And it's getting clumped up, so I'm just gonna pull the two middle ones. Yes, after you do 10, I would recommend that you swap again, because if you do too many of them, then like you guys saw, your string is gonna start to get shorter. So do about 10 and then switch them. So to swap, again, I'll show you. Whichever strings you have in the middle, all you do is you pull them on the outside, and then you take the outside strings and you put them in the middle. That's all you do, and you continue working. So you make the 4. Again, if you reached 10 and you want to switch because your sides are getting too short, all you do is you take the middle strings, put it on the outside, and take the outside strings and pull them in the middle. Again, if yours, make sure that you're pulling when you're tying your knot, make sure it rests underneath the one that you already made. If you pull it too tight, it will become a big knot. Okay, so I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna make my 4, pull that right string over, use my left hand to pick this up, and pull it through. So see, when I'm pulling this to make the knot, I'm not just gonna make a big bunch. If I do that, you're gonna get a big knot. Make sure you're pulling those two middle strings down. That's what you're making that knot around. So if you do that, you just pull it. There we go. If you're turning, that's good. That means that you're on the right track and you're just chugging along. I would just recommend that once you hit about 8 or 10, then you swap so that you can preserve your string. Yes, I will show the switch thing in just a moment. I'm going to make a few more knots so that mine doesn't lose its shape, and then I'll show you how to switch. I'm going to make my 4. Use the right one and pull over. Feed it through the loop and pull. I will show you how to swap in just a moment. If you want to put beads in between, yes, you can. All you would have to do, I don't have any on me, but if you want to put a bead in, you can just stick it in through the middle. So once you get the hang of it, it's pretty simple. Okay, whoever's trying to swap and you're stuck, just hang tight. I'm gonna make a few more because if I keep swapping, then it's going to look a little odd for you. So again, I'm not just gonna try and push this on top, I'm gonna tug the two middle ones so that I can pull it nice and tight right underneath. I'm gonna do two more and then I'll show whoever needs to swap, I'll show you how to swap. So see, if that's what's happening right there, all you have to do is you just tug those two middle strings so that you don't get stuck. And it's gonna get a little bit trickier when you start turning, but that's okay. So as you can see, I have my turn coming along right here. All right, for those of you who wanna swap, I'll show you how to swap. So right now, I have my two outsides and I have my two insides. So what I'm gonna do to swap, all I'm gonna do, I'm gonna move these outside ones in a little bit. I'm gonna take the two inside ones and I'm just gonna move them out. So you're gonna see this kind of funky loop here, but all you're doing is you're taking the middle strings and moving them out and taking the outer strings and moving them in. And I would just kind of hold it down for the first one because it's going to be a little tricky because it's going to want to go back outside. So I'm just going to hold it down. You don't have to swap them 10 times. You can swap them for however long you want to do it for. So I just recommend that you do 10 knots and then you swap, do 10 more, and then you swap. And you can make them as long as you want them to be. So if you just want it that long, then you can snip it. I may show you how to start off the second one, and then we can send out a recording if you guys are interested in doing the second one, because we may be running out of time. And yes, you can definitely wear this as a bracelet. I'm gonna do a few more and I'll show you how to swap. So if you guys are done and you wanna end the piece, it's already knotted. You don't have to do any special knot, but you can trim it however you want. So let me show you. Okay, so I'm gonna do a few more just to make mine a little bit longer, and then I can show you what you guys can do to finish it off a little bit. Yes, I will show you the beads in just a minute. Hello? Okay, we're gonna show you how to do the beads in just a second. I'm just making mine a little bit longer so I can show you guys the rest. Just hang tight. Okay, so what I did for one of them is I'll show you one that I already did. Okay, so what I did, I'll show you one. I had made a longer one. So my bead was just kind of like a little hanging bead. So all I did for that, I think it's already knotted, but I just slipped it in to these two in the middle, and then I tied a knot on each side. So let me try with another bead so I can show you. So I'm taking a bead and I'm sliding it in through the two middle ones. So I'm just feeding the string into the two middle ones. It might be a little bit snug depending on what you're using. So mine didn't go through for this bead, but whoever's did, if you have a bigger one, I'll just show you how it would look. Just put it in through the two middle ones and it'll be right up top, and then you can just continue doing your knots. So it'll loop over on the side. Here, let's try this one. Here, let's try this one. Okay, so I'm gonna put it through there, put the other one through. Well, mine opened up a bit, so it may not work on mine, but that's okay. Just trying to put the bead in. I'll show you how to swap in just a second. I'm putting my bead in. Okay, now we got the bead through, and I just put them through the two middle ones. That's all I did. So it'll sit right there. Okay, so we have this. I didn't do anything different. All I did was I put those two middle strings into my bead and I pulled it all the way up. Now I'm gonna take a new piece of tape and tape my keychain down again. After 10 knots, you wanna swap. So you're gonna hold your bead up and then you're just gonna continue doing the same knots again. So you have your middle strings, you have your 4, and then you can pull that right string up. Mine got caught, sorry. And you're gonna pull it over. Pick up your 4, take that right string, pull it through the loop, and just keep going. So as you can see, just push. If you think that it's gonna come around your bead, just hold your bead down with your finger and let these curves sit on the side. So when you pull it, you'll be able to see that string on the side. And just pull it tight, but not too tight. And then it'll look like it's a little bit loose, but once you keep going, it'll start to get tighter. So I'm gonna keep doing my 4s, and I'm gonna do 3 more, and then I'll show you how to swap for whoever needs to swap. So again, I see that clump, I'm not gonna ignore this clump. You just pull the middle and tie. And again, make your 4, take that right hand side, put it up top, and pull it through the loop. And pull. So tug the middle and pull. And then you should still keep getting that turn. So I'm gonna do 1 more and then show you guys how to swap if you need to swap. And then I can show you a couple different ways to end it, however you like. Okay, so for whoever needs to swap, so you see I have my 2 outside strings and my 2 inside strings. I'm gonna take my inside strings, and those are gonna go on the outside. So I'm literally just swapping them. I'm gonna push them. You can put the bead in at any time you want. I put mine in here so that I can show you guys how to do it. All you do is you put them in through the 2 middle strings, and that's it. So I'm gonna gather these in a little bit. I'm gonna take my 2 middle strings and put them on the outside. So that's 1, that's the other. And then I'm gonna gather those 2 strings that were on the outside before and push them in the middle. And then just keep going. That's all you have to do. So make that 4 again. I would pick it up and pinch it. Put that outside right string on the top and gather from the bottom. And pull. Oh, I lost mine. I'm sorry. Let me do that one more time. For the other 3 strings, we won't have time to work on that one today, but keep those strings handy and we will send you guys a recording on how to do the other one, and you can use those 3 strings to do that at home. And you can rewind and forward that one as much as you'd like. And pull. There we go. I'm gonna do 3 more so that I have a little bit of a twist, and then I'll show you guys how to end. So that's 1. And if that happens, where it just kind of loops up, just pull the 2 middle strings down and you'll be fine. All right, so this is my second one. I'll do 1 more and show you how to end it. And before you guys go, when we're done, we'll ask you guys if you can turn your cameras on, and we want to see what you guys came up with. So it's okay if yours looks a little bit different. That's kind of the fun of this, is someone's is going to twist to the left, someone's is going to twist to the right. And some of those ins and outs that we did to swap them, some of those are going to look like there's an extra loop in the middle, while some of them might create a pattern. So that's kind of what's fun about doing macrame, is that every knot is going to be different. And that's kind of what makes it look cool. And if you Google what macrame, like the different types of things that you can do, if you get thicker twine, if you take All right, sorry folks, I got cut there. I'll keep going, I'm sorry. All right, so like I was saying before, if you have like thicker twine, or if you get actual macrame cord, or even with this, you can make round coasters, you can make wall hangings, you can make little covers for your pots and pans. So it's pretty interesting, all the things you can do. And this is one basic knot that we learned, which is a square knot. And so if you find other tutorials that you like, then that's going to be one of the basic knots that you use. So to end it, it's really up to you how you like to end it. What I did with this one is I put a little heart bead on there, and I let the ends hang. So if you don't like ends, you can cut it short. So I had made one with a double square knot, and I cut them real short. So you can cut it, or if you want, you can tie a bow. So since you have these, you can, if you know how to tie a bow, you can kind of do a double bow with the 4 strings that you have left. It's totally up to you how you want to end it, because you did end on a knot, so it's not going to come out. So you can kind of just let it hang like that if you like, and make a bow. Or if you are using yarn, or if you're using actual macrame cord, then what you can do is you can start to brush out the ends of your yarn, and so that'll give it a frill look. So it really depends. There's no set way on how you would like to do it. All you have to do is just separate the frill. If you have a comb, like a hair comb or a hairbrush, you can also brush it out, so it'll give you a little bit more frill. That's one option. Cutting it is one option, or you can just leave it, or you can tie a bow. So to end mine, I'm gonna undo this. I'm just gonna make a simple little bow using these 2 and these 2. I'm gonna cross, loop through, and just make a little bow and pull it tight. And I'm gonna trim mine a little bit so that it's not super long. And you can just use scissors. Again, there's no way to close it. You've already have a knot, and that's not gonna come out. So you don't have to do anything specific to close it. It's up to you how you would like the end of yours to look. So all I did was I made a bow because that's what I wanted to do. You can also just trim it to however long you want your excess string to be, and you can continue making it longer. If you have a lot of string left and you want to continue after this is over, you're more than welcome to. Or if you're working with yarn or cord, all you have to do, if this is your yarn, you can leave it as is, or you can just pull. If you start pulling at the ends of the strings, it'll give you some frill. Or you can take a hairbrush or a hair comb and you can comb through it. So it'll give you that frill. All right, so can everyone turn their videos on and show us what they made? That'd be awesome. For someone who's asking, if you don't want to do it on a key ring and you want to make it like a bracelet, what you can do is, instead of starting that knot on the keychain, you can also just tie a knot with these 2. So I'm just going to use my finger, and I'll loop it around my finger and just make it a knot. So that's all you do. And then if there's 4, you can do 4 together. If there's 6, you can do 6 together. So that way, when you're done, all you would have to do is make that knot again, and you can use it as a bracelet for whoever wants to make it as a bracelet. So there's different ways to play around with it if you don't want it as a keychain.